workers can get as much done in a 33-hour week as they can in 38 hours. Now, I've said before, I'll say it again, this idea that everybody works 8 hours a day is just, it's completely irrelevant. All right? Now, I got some people that are freaking out right now because you're like me. You're old school. I'm old school. I'm a traditional guy, very conservative. I work my butt off. I'm a hard freaking worker. I love hard work. I think it matters. But I'm not saying that no one's working. I'm saying no one works 8 hours because they're either working less than 8 hours because you take their lunch break, you take all the time they spend talking to friends, scrolling social media. Can we be honest? Nobody works an 8-hour day. And there's some people that work 10 hours, 12 hours. They're crazy workers. All right, so the idea of the 40-hour work week was an idea that Henry Ford came up with way back in the day. So let's just talk about work from a standpoint of, am I punching a time clock or am I producing results? All right. The results of the 4-day work week study was a 65% reduction in the number of sick days. This is startling. Improved productivity, and a 57% decline in the likelihood that an employee would quit, which means retention is higher. The report also highlighted that workers were able to cut their average work time by about 4 hours to 34 hours a week. So here's what they were told. We're going to pay you what we've been paying you, but instead of working 5 days, you're going to work 4 days a week. And so they were still able to cut the amount of hours they worked because then it became about reduction. Reduction of what? Unnecessary meetings. A reduction of maybe archaic processes. See, if you tell a person, you got to get your job done, but you got to get it done in 4 days, their immediate reaction, because the human brain is wired this way for innovation. By the way, you know what innovation is? Innovation is creativity because of a lack of resources. Every kid's innovative. Hey, mom and dad, I remember when I was a kid, I wanted what they called a pop gun. That's probably not politically correct anymore, but it was, a knockoff of a gun, and you pull the trigger and it went pop. And so I would shoot my brother all the time, right? It was fun. But you take 2 or 3 boys and they're raising a home and you don't give them a pop gun, guess what's going to happen? You're going to come into the kitchen one day, mom and dad, and they're going to shoot you with a banana because it looks like a revolver. Or you're going to walk out in the backyard and you're going to hear, and they're going to be shooting you with a stick. That's innovation. Creativity in the face of a lack of resources. That's why boys shoot you with bananas or sticks or whatever. All right? It's pretty simple. So you tell people, look, 4-day work week, still got to get your job done. What do they start to do? They go, okay, what do I have to change? What do I have to innovate? Because if I've got less time to get the same amount of work done, now some people will fritz on that and it's not good for them. More on that in a second. So workers cut out inefficiencies like meetings. Oh, praise God. I could get in trouble for saying this around here, but I mean, Ramsey's just like every other company. We got some meetings around here. I despise meetings. I like conversations. And people were dedicated to make sure they had more uninterrupted focus time. So what happens? The more I remove distractions, increase focus, I get more done. Who cares if I do it in 34 hours or 38 or 40 hours? I got the job done. This is the lesson. Revenue increased by 15% over the course of the trial. 89% of workers obviously wanted to stay with the new 4-day plan. But let's not jump to conclusions. It is not a no-brainer. I do believe the 4-day work week is coming to America. I'm just telling you, it's coming. But it's not for everybody. And this is where leadership is going to be as important as ever. This is where the employee, you're going to have to, is it the right fit for people? Is it the right fit for our type of organization? 2 vitally important leadership questions. Because that's what you're going to have to figure out, because it can create a logistical nightmare. We had a leader A lady who ran a ad agency on this program about a year ago, she did it in California for about an 8-week period. And she said it had some good, but it was mostly bad, and they stopped it. One of the things that she cited with me in the interview was it created too much stress, and we got to figure out how we offset schedules. If we go to a 4-day work week, we got to figure out how to offset. Well, some people take off some people work Tuesday through Friday, some people Monday through Thursday. Because of the type of agency where it's very client-centric, client-focused, it created too much stress. So understand that. But overwhelmingly, employees reported an increase in their well-being. Pierre Lindmark, the CEO of a management consultancy that focuses on mental health at work, said just like any change, it will suit some and alienate others, and the reality may be that the structure doesn't suit everybody. A 4-day work week isn't for everyone. He's right. He went on to say one less day at work could lead to increased anxiety and isolation. So this is about the personality of the person. This is about the processes by which they currently work. And can you innovate and eliminate? That's the key. So I say all that to say, I believe this is coming. I can't tell you when it's coming to America, but it's coming. It's coming because there's too much good data from this study in Europe for companies not to go after it. Now, again, as a leader, let me just say this. I believe wholeheartedly in autonomy. I believe that if I hire a good person, good being these qualities, they have high character, so high levels of trust just because of their integrity. I've put them in a role that they're good at, that's talent. I put them in a role that they love, that's passion. And I'm allowing them to produce results that matter deeply to them. That's mission. That's what I teach, talent, passion, mission. I put them in their sweet spot, and they got high character. And then I care for them. That person can work in Timbuktu. That person could work any schedule that they choose. Why? Because of those factors I just gave you. And I am now trusting them to do the job. And a leader who learns to trust and say, you know what? I'm going to give you a lot of rope. Go. And I'm going to communicate with you frequently. I'm going to communicate with you clearly. And I'm going to measure you based on your results. Hear me say this. We have so many bad leaders. You're so focused on rituals and processes instead of results. Every human being longs to be free. 77% of Americans want to be self-employed, but only 7 are. What does that tell you? That they want freedom. They don't really want to work for themselves. They just want to be free. The 4-day work week is moving us in an interesting direction.